Hi there, welcome to Race Centre. I'm Dazza. Here we have a 2023 Triumph Street Triple RS 765 Ripper motorbike, Ripper motor, and we've made it even more awesome with full custom tune and our NJ84 throttle maps. So really excited with this one because we've made a fair chunk of improvement with this bike actually. First thing I'm going to do is going to show you the full power graph, the full power run, and you'll look at it and go, what do you mean you've made a heap of power? So that's the full power run at the rear wheel, and also this graph shows a comparison to some other dynos if you're wondering why the power's a bit lower. So on that graph alone, it doesn't look like there's much of an improvement, right? But this is the thing to understand, and this is true with most bikes, be it road bikes, track bikes, cruisers, sports bikes, sports tourers, that a lot of the time the majority of the improvement that you're making is in the middle, on the smaller throttle positions, mid-range, as you're rolling on the throttle. That's when you're going to really notice it. With dyno graphs, you only, like the graphs we're looking at the moment, the 100% throttle runs, they only show you the bike's full power at 100% throttle when you're just holding it on. Now that's great for a graph and, you know, if you're just looking at a piece of paper. However, that's not the riding experience that you feel. You don't just all of a sudden just go to 100% and just hold it there. You ride around, you're going through the twisties, exiting corners, you pull on the gas, whether you're at track days, you know, accelerating off the turn, you roll through the throttle, and that's important. And that's where you really, really feel the difference with a proper tune. This particular bike's got a full SC Project exhaust, and in standard trim anyway, even the standard exhaust with Euro 5 emissions laws and all that sort of stuff, these bikes are quite lean in the mid-range. When I say quite lean, it's not anything you need to be like stressed out that your engine is so lean it's going to blow up or anything like that. It's all in the smaller throttle position, but also in the mid-range that is, you know, costing it performance. So the other thing we do with these bikes is we put our NJ84 throttle maps through the bike, which changes how the power delivery works. This bike out of the box is pretty good in terms of the throttle maps and the power delivery. You've got your four maps, or your throttle maps. You've got your rain, road, sport, and track. Now, as I said, they're pretty good. They're almost linear. Well, not almost, but they're pretty good. But they have this. A lot of bikes do it. A lot of bikes do it a lot worse than this, where the throttles, as the RPM rise, they actually open by themselves. So if you were to hold a static throttle, the throttle would actually open a little bit by itself in this bike without you actually opening that. We're a massive believer here at Race Centre that that's just not on. The only thing that should ever open your throttles is your hand, or if your traction settings kick in or something like that. When you change your power mode, it simply just gives you softer delivery. So for the same amount of twist grip, it'll actually open it a little bit less. But it won't open them unless you open the throttle. So standard, these do it. It will probably be not that noticeable because it's not a lot. But here's the thing, it's costing you mid-range. You know, in the lower RPM or the mid-range RPM, it's actually holding the bike back a little bit. And these things, that's what they're for. Great mid-range, great street bike. So you definitely want that mid-range back. So we put our NJ throttle maps through it. Not only do they give the mid-range back, but they smoothen out the power delivery as well. These things are pretty smooth standard. They're not bad at all compared to some models out there or some different bikes out there. But they can be a decent step better again in terms of the throttle map and power delivery. So we put that through that, which changes the power modes, makes them a little bit more distinct too from each other. In some areas, the standard, road, sport, and track maps aren't massively different, whereas the maps we put into it, they're not like ginormously different, but they're different, so you'll notice it. So you can play around and pick and choose the power mode that you want. And then, you know, we also put a proper rain mode in it. The standard one leaves a little bit to be desired in the rain mode, to be honest, because it gives you a lot of low down mid-range, but then it tapers it off, whereas we just make it more intuitive, where it's more of a linear power mode. So changes that quite a bit, so that makes a big difference. And then the graphs I'm going to show you now, these are 100% legit. This is awesome, what we've been able to get out of this. We've made a monstrous improvement to the mid-range on this bike. You know, what we're looking at here is 30 and 40% throttle positions. So getting back to what I was saying earlier, if you imagine riding a bike and you're pulling through the throttle, you know, pick up the throttle mid-turn, start winding it on, just to get that initial part done. And with our NJ84 throttle maps, that part's even smoother. Even though we've made all this chunk of mid-range, we haven't made the bike more aggressive to ride. It's smooth, easy to ride, just got a lot more mid-range, but it's accessible and easy to use. So pick up that throttle, and then as you start to wind through the throttle, say 10, 15, 20%, 30%, 40%, the tune that we've put into this makes a monstrous difference. And it makes a huge difference to the power delivery and what you feel as power. So you think, wow, that's way more powerful. And these graphs do the tune a lot more justice than just the 100% throttle run that you're seeing at full throttle. So forget that. That's not what it's about. It's all the meat and potatoes in the middle. This thing's come up amazing. The reason we've got such big gains in the middle is because of the two-part in the tune. The throttle map, sorting that out, getting that right, and then the next part is getting the fuel tune. These things are designed to run quite lean in that middle area, as I said, for emissions. If you go and put a full system on it, like this one has an SC project, that's going to make that area even a whole bunch leaner, so you definitely need to get it tuned. But with the fuel tune done, throttle maps, this thing is amazing. Picked up so much mid-range, so I guess it's time to go and listen to this awesome triple.